You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I'm really nervous. I've never done this before, but my name's Logan, and I feel like my story and the experiences that I've gone through can help others, and so that's why I'm doing this. That's why I started this channel, to be able to have the conversations with you that I never had growing up as a kid. I want to share things that I've learned from my life so that you guys can know that you're not alone, and so you guys can know that God is there and that He is real. I believe in God. Yeah, He's played a very important role throughout my whole life, and especially this past year. I hope that that part also comes across in my story. All right, so I'm the youngest of 7 kids. I grew up in a really small town, extremely poor. I have a twin sister as well. My family definitely saved the best for last. My wife thinks so too. You know, growing up, I thought I had a great life. I thought I had the most amazing family. I really was just ignorant to what was going on around me. When I was a little kid, I always used to say, "I'm happy, Mom. Are you happy?" After a while, I stopped saying that. You know, there's a lot of things in my family, a lot of things that happened within my family that were really bad. My older siblings were physically abused. You know, there's a lot of sexual abuse in my family as well, and growing up there's a lot of pornography in my house, and because of all of those things and many other things that happened to me, I developed a pornography addiction around the age of 10 or 11. And for a long time I thought that was the reason why I wasn't happy anymore, is because of my addiction. You know, but as I've been looking back on my life throughout this past year, I've realized that it was because of all the trauma that I had gone through that led me to my addiction, because I was just trying to escape. I didn't know how to process feelings or emotions. I didn't know how to talk through things or open up with anyone, because no one that was safe and that could be there and be empathetic towards me. And I didn't have anyone to teach me about emotions. I didn't know what those were. I mean, I knew what they were, but I knew, hey, I'm angry. But I never was able to express those emotions in a healthy way and learn to process those. Throughout my life, my addiction has played a really big part with all the relationships I've had, with everything I've done in my life. There's times when it was stronger and more apparent in my life, and other times where I was doing good, but relatively speaking. I played a lot of sports growing up in high school and in middle school, and hi Rosie, you're so cute, go get Mom. I was playing sports because I didn't want to be at home. One other thing that happened growing up was, you know, I started working a job when I was 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that range during the summers. I was very proud of the work that I was doing, and the fact that I was able to make money for myself. But what I soon realized is that the money I made wasn't for me, it was for my family. You know, I bought all of my school clothes, I bought all of my stuff for school. Found out after a while that my parents were stealing money from me to help pay for their bills, or, you know, to buy food and things like that. Yeah, I was very angry about that, and kind of still am, you know, and that's something that I still need to work through with my therapist, because yes, I do see a therapist. I think everybody should. It's a good deal. Make sure that they're specialized in what you need. Yeah, you know, like I said, I didn't have a great life, but I was ignorant to the fact that it wasn't a great life. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just chose not to see things, and my family didn't communicate a lot of things growing up. I had a sibling that tried to commit suicide when they were in high school, and I didn't know about that until 5 or 6 years after the fact. No one in my family did, except my parents. Kind of goes in my mind to show the length that my family went to keep things secret, to not talk about things. Yeah, and so in middle school, high school, I started playing a lot of sports. I played football, I wrestled, tried basketball in 8th grade. After high school, I joined the military. I went in the Marine Reserves and then served a mission for my church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. During those times when I was busier and active in doing things, my pornography addiction, or at least me acting out in my addiction, was less, just because I was so focused on other things. You don't really have privacy or time to act out. I'm sure some people still figured out a way, but I did not. You know, and on my mission, I was really trying to focus on God and trying to focus on serving Him and serving other people. Been issues and things like that I've had with my family. You know, my dad wrote me 2 letters when in that 2 years time span that were just from him. I'm like, he'd write on like birthday cards or Christmas cards, things like that, just a little sentence here or there. But that was one thing that I really wanted in my life, was a relationship with my dad, something that I didn't have growing up. He was always gone, you know, and that just has continued throughout my life as well, to just that wanting that relationship. And so that issue with my dad, with not having that communication and him not being there, for as long as I can remember, really left like a gap in my life, because that's, like I said, something that I really wanted, something that I needed. I needed that father figure in my life that was there to teach me. I had to teach myself how to shave. After I got off my mission, soon after that, I met my wife before she went off to college. She played soccer in college and played out of state. I attended a college here in Utah. So we did the long distance thing for a while. My wife and I got married a couple years after we met. That was a big change. I thought getting married would solve everything as far as the addiction went. And because I'm married now, I don't need to go to pornography. That's definitely not the case, in case any of you are wondering. That is not how to solve that. A little over a year into our marriage, we had a huge bombshell dropped on us. My wife was diagnosed with stage 4 bulky Hodgkin's lymphoma. She had a tumor that on her body, she's much smaller than me, but her body took up like that much in her, bigger? That? Okay. So it was massive. Pretty much had like collapsed her left lung. When she'd lay down, like she couldn't breathe. She had about a semester and a half left in college. I had a year and a half, 2 years left in college. Okay. When my wife was diagnosed, it just compounded on the trauma that I had experienced earlier in my life. All the stuff with my family, all the abuse I have in my family, all the uncertainty and not knowing who I was and how to process things, that all just compounded on each other. My wife's treatments lasted about a year, and then she was in remission for about a year and a half, and then was diagnosed a second time. This time it required more chemo and then a stem cell transplant. When she went in for a stem cell transplant, it was that first fall during the pandemic, and I got COVID right after she went into the hospital, and she was in the hospital for 4 weeks, and so I couldn't go in there to see her. She was on her own. That caused a lot of trauma for both of us as well. And this whole time there was things going on with my family, like me not going out to see them caused them heartache, I guess. And so, I was made to feel guilty for not going out and seeing them because my wife had cancer. That doesn't make sense to me either. I'd get calls from family members and they'd just be crying, they'd be so sorry that Kiera had cancer, and I had to console them, and that's not how that should go. They should be consoling me. I shouldn't have to tell someone else that, oh, it's fine, my wife has cancer, everything's gonna be okay. Through this time period, the first 4 years of our marriage, my wife and I had a lot of trauma. And like I said, that trauma was compounding on other trauma I've had in the past. And so my addiction was what I went to escape, to numb out, so I wouldn't have to feel all of those hard things that I was going through. It was the only way I could find relief. After Kiera got back from the hospital after stem cell transplant, she came to me and asked me what was going on, because at that point, and for quite a while before that, honestly, I had been lying to her about pretty much everything. I hadn't been honest with her about my pornography addiction when we were dating or before we got married, or previous relationships, sexual experiences that I had had, or emotional affairs, things like that. I hadn't told her about any of that. When she approached me with that, I started to tell her the truth, and it was just a little bit here and there for a few days until I felt like I had told her everything that I needed to, which wasn't the complete truth, honestly, but I just wanted to be done with my addiction, because I was lying to her. Like I said, I was rude to her. I spoke to her like crap. And I'm so sorry for that, Kiera. You know that already. And I love you. I am sorry. I had used the relationship, the connection I had with my wife, and I abused that and took advantage of it in an attempt to escape what I was feeling, because I didn't know any better. I hadn't been taught how to experience my emotions and to process them. All I knew was running away from them to protect myself. I learned that as a little kid, and that's honest from the research and studying I've done. That's where addiction comes from, is generally trauma you experience as a kid. Needless to say, I hadn't been a great husband, or even a good husband. I did at some points, I did really good with taking care of Kiera when she was going through treatments, especially the first time. I was there for her. I gave her everything I had because I knew she needed someone to be strong for her, but I didn't know how to be strong for myself. I didn't know how to work through those things, and that's where the addiction came into as well. have a lot of trauma from that time period. Her approaching me about what was going on happened a little over a year ago. Yeah, we had just hit our 4th year. And so from that time until now, it's been a little over a year. We just hit 5 years in marriage. And our marriage right now is beautiful. And I wouldn't trade the relationship I have with Kiera for anything. I trust her with everything. And I know that she trusts me as well. And I want to keep her safe. And I want to keep our future family safe from pornography, from anything of that life. Anything that dishonesty brings. The reason why Kiera and I are in such a good spot in our marriage and have such a strong relationship right now is because of this past year. We did a full therapeutic disclosure 4 or 5 months after she approached me. I had been working with a coach in sexual addiction recovery. I had joined a addiction recovery group. Kiera had started seeing a therapist shortly after I told her about my addiction. It's made the biggest difference. It turns out like just wanting to stop looking at pornography doesn't work. You have to change things. You have to go to the source of the addiction, what caused it. So I've been working with a therapist since July, and I've worked a lot on my family, things from my family, the trauma I've experienced in the past. I've developed my relationship with God, and that has been incredible. I've been able to learn about myself, experience the feelings that I have, and process them. I'm not scared of feeling things, even if they are hard or uncomfortable, because there's not bad emotions, there's just uncomfortable emotions. There's hard emotions. Being afraid that your wife is going to die is a hard emotion, and I felt that a lot, and I don't just run from it now. Sorry. As a boy, you're always taught to just, walk it off. Don't cry. Be tough. Rub some dirt on it. I've never done that. That seems stupid. It seems like it would get infected. I'm so much better of a husband now. So much better of a man now that I allow myself to experience things. Not because I don't have an addiction. The bigger part of it is I'm a better person now because I've worked on myself. And I take time to take care of myself. And that's a very hard thing to do. Throughout this past year, I've started taking medication for depression and anxiety, and then for ADHD, and those have made a huge difference in my life as well. Being able to understand and realize what's going on with me and understanding how to work with that has made a big difference as well. But I know that I can overcome anything in my life because of the experiences that I've been through. And I'm not defined by the family I grew up in or the choices I've made in my past. They've helped shape me into who I am now, but I am who I am now because I've chosen to be this person. I want other people to know that too, that they know that about themselves. I've met so many people just throughout this past year that seem confused and unsure and like they don't really have a purpose, and I've lived that way for the majority of my life, and I just want to help other people. I want to help other people that are scared and that feel alone. I want to help other people that don't think there's any way to change. And I hope that in some way that my story helps with that. The values that I have for myself now are a lot of the same values that I had before. I just wasn't living up to them. I was acting outside of my values. Being able to live your values and being able to look at myself every day in the mirror and not being ashamed of who I am and not being afraid of other people seeing who I am is amazing. I wouldn't trade it for anything. The values that I have are God, my relationship with God. That's the most important thing in my life right now. My relationship with my wife. I just want to keep her safe and see her smile every day. But those are my top two things. Relationships with God and my wife. From there, honesty is a huge thing because I've lied so much in my life that I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not perfect at it. I'm not perfect at anything I've talked about. Recovery is a journey. It's not a destination. It's always going to be happening. My values are following through with what you say you're going to do. Taking care of yourself, because if I don't make time for me, I'm not giving other people the best parts of me. And having fun. Having fun's a blast. And I found that I'm a much happier person now, and my sense of humor, to myself at least, has gone quite a bit better. Seeing other people's marriages struggle and fail is hard, because I've been close to that before. I've been close to being divorced, and it's taken so much work to protect my marriage and to protect my home. And that's something I will always keep fighting for, is to protect my wife, my children, and my home, and making it a place of safety and peace, and not just for my family but for others as well. In the future, I want to have a lot of those conversations on here with you guys that I didn't get growing up. I want to help other people protect their own marriages, and if you're not, I want to help you prepare to have a safe marriage and learn about your emotions and about yourself, and to help you grow. Also, as an accountability for exercising, one of my goals is to get up to a 405-pound deadlift on a straight bar. I've never gotten above 365, and I want to do it, and you shall do it with me. Yeah, I would love questions. I would love comments, because there's so much to share, and I think there's a lot of benefit in having dialogue, because that's when everyone can learn. So yeah, if you'd like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and share it with everybody. Bye. Bye? Bye. Okay, we're done. See you guys later. Okay, gassy today out of both ends. Are you gonna keep that in there?
No.
Okay, how funny would that be? It wouldn't be the most embarrassing thing on here.
No.
I'm more embarrassed about that than anything else I've said, though.